Lazies! Today I decided to build an old apartment I used to live in when I was in high school. Before this, my mom and I were living in her flower shop, sleeping on the floor, using the sink to wash ourselves, and we kept a suitcase of our clothes in the car. So this apartment was definitely an upgrade. It was a 6th-floor walk-up, but I'm just going to be rebuilding the unit that we stayed in. The lady who lived in the apartment with her daughter was looking for someone to rent out a small room to, and I think my mom paid around $600 a month for it. So let me explain the layout a little bit. The large room is the shared space that we shared with the lady and her daughter, and the room on the left is the room that my mom and I slept in. And then the tiny 2x1 room is the bathroom, or really just the toilet room. The door here is the woman and her daughter's room. I think they shared a space. I'm not sure how big it is on her side, so I'm not going to build that portion. I'm just going to build what I know. Just decorating the room now. It was a very, very, very small space. We had a window in the back there, and that window would oversee sort of the building's garbage disposal place. So it smelled so bad during the summer. We had a lot of IKEA furniture, I think, so that was the closest one that I found, and laying out all our clothes there, adding clutter. We were never really home. Like, we just came to sleep. In the morning, I would go to school. In the evening, I would go to my mom's store and help her out at the shop. And then we would just come home at night, maybe like 10 p.m., 11 p.m., sleep, and then wake up the next day. I'm trying to find a linoleum sort of flooring, but that was the best one. And this rug here, I'm just putting it as a placeholder because that's where my mom slept. We used to try to sleep on the bed together, but we couldn't fit and her back started hurting. So if you're Asian, you know that they like to sleep on the floor, and sometimes we would switch depending on the mood. Like if my mom ends up on the bed, then I'll just sleep on the floor. It'll act sort of like a camping situation. I added some canvases here in the back because I went to a performing arts school called LaGuardia Arts. And funny story, the day I moved in, I realized that the woman's daughter was actually a girl that I went to school with, but she was a year older than me. So if you were wondering where the shower was, it was in the kitchen. And I realized later on that this was actually very common in a lot of tenements, and I remember talking to my therapist about it, and she said that she knew exactly what I was talking about. She said that that's what her apartment looked like too when she was growing up in Chinatown, so I thought that was really interesting. No one in school really knew about my living situation because I was sort of embarrassed by it, and I guess I could say I was nervous living in this girl's apartment because I was afraid that she would go back and tell her friends that I was living with her, yada yada. I don't know. I mean, we weren't friends, so I don't think our friend group would merge, but I was still embarrassed regardless for some reason. Man, as I'm adding stuff, it's just bringing so many memories for me because I think I really put this in the back of my mind. I didn't really want to think about it, but it's crazy to see how far I've come to having my own home now, having my own room. I mean, for the longest time, I was sharing the same bed with my mom up until college, which is crazy because there's no privacy, and I would stay up late doing my homework while she's asleep next to me, or she'd roll over and be like, "Sarah, go to sleep," and she would nag me. It's just funny that I think about it now. It's just crazy how the world works and how much change could happen in just a couple of years. Now I'm just filling the kitchen with some clutter, some bowls, some utensils, and some cups. This apartment was filled to the brim with stuff. I think that's just the reality of a lot of Asian immigrant households. I tried to put the microwave on the table because I think that's where it was originally, but the Sims wouldn't let me, so I just put it on the counter instead. It was such a bittersweet feeling building this unit. I forgot how far I've come, and it just made me really proud of myself. The next build I'm gonna do is definitely the flower shop that we lived in for a bit, so I'm excited to do that because it was cute. And I just want to say that I was fortunate enough to have a roof over my head. There are people suffering far worse conditions, but regardless, I still felt very less than a person at the time. So the kitchen/dining room area that I'm decorating right now, none of that stuff was ours. It was all the woman and her daughter's stuff. Again, our stuff is literally just in that tiny room, but I think this is how it looked like, just based on my memory. It's kind of foggy, but there's a lot of stuff on the walls, a lot of boxes, etc. This build is making the room look so spacious, but I swear it was much tighter than this, but I couldn't really do it with the grid, or I mean, I wish there was like a half wall option to move the walls half in instead of like one full square. But yeah, I mean, this is essentially it, but I think the real life one was much smaller. I can't remember if there was a window in the bathroom, but I'm just adding one and some curtains. And this is the bedroom. This is the entirety of the bedroom where I slept with my mom, and this is the kitchen / dining area. For anyone watching, I want you to know that where you are now doesn't dictate the rest of your life. And when you're down in the dumps, or when you're at your lowest lows, really the only direction you can go is up. Anyways, thank you for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this build. I very much enjoyed building this. It went down memory lane. So yeah, see you next time. Peace.